Hello there, wherever you may be in the world. It's unseasonably warm at the moment in England. The last few days I've been stripping the weeds off the road and the pavements outside the house and of my neighbours' houses as well. Do more than what is required of you, Gurdjieff says, and rest when the work is done. That way it lasts forever. I say that because I tend to think to myself how wonderful I've been. But you have to let it go. Well, the first topic I've got is what is called wrong work, which is when people make the energies inside of them function incorrectly. Particularly, they tend to attach sugary emotions or even sexual feelings to their activities. The logo for TikTok, because it represents a kind of hallucination, a kind of a shifting in and out of bright experiences. And this is the way that wrong work is taught from one person to another. Energetic functioning can be represented like this in a poster. And this poster teaches several types of wrong work together. In the UK, the number of black people is very, very small. Often you don't see a single black person on the road. Perhaps American people don't quite understand what that means. Black faces are everywhere, they dominate all advertising. It is like the people here are being taught to hate themselves and to enjoy their own destruction. That is why so many British people are now covered in tattoos, and not even tattoos, they're just covered in black explosions. There is a war going on against reality, any reality. And the third type of wrong work is that this lady here does not represent black people. Last week I showed a picture of Haile Selassie, in the honor and patriarchy of real African culture. America just has sensation, and anybody and everybody is used like mincemeat. Let's listen to Gurdjieff. He says, "There is one special commandment among the direct commandments of our all-embracing endlessness, which is strictly observed by all normal three-brained beings of our great universe, and is expressed in the words, 'Always guard against such perceptions as may soil the purity of your brains.' Three-brained beings have the possibility of personal self-perfecting because of the localization in their common presence of three centers, or three brains, upon which, when the omnipresent Okedonok undergoes the process of Jartklom, the three holy forces of the sacred Triamizamkamno acquire the possibility of further, this time independent, actualizations. The point is that beings having this three-brain system can, by the conscious and intentional fulfilling of being part Kadol duty, utilize for their own presence the three holy forces liberated from the omnipresent Okedonok by the process of Jartklom, and so bring their presence to what is called the Sacro-Nuland Saknian state. That is to say, they can become individuals who have their own sacred law of Triamizamkamno, and thereby the possibility of consciously taking in and coating in their common presence that all-holy which, among other things, helps to actualize the functioning in cosmic units of objective or divine reason. And for the rest, they are buried in the same hole. I happened to see a young American lady, 29, and she was talking on TikTok. I wasn't listening much, but she was saying that although she was 29, unmarried and didn't have kids, her life was still great. And it was interesting for me to see how many different facial expressions she cycled through, how many different impulses she had, because she wasn't one. She didn't have one train of thought or one point to make or one position to express. She was simply cycling through so many different faces and emotions and masks. Some of them are no doubt the artificially induced American faces that she has been taught by American advertising. And then on the other side, between her sugary smiles, there is a resting bitch face, or there is the look of pain, or confusion, or lostness. And it is there, in those faces, that there is a possibility for truth. Because her soul knows that this sugary smiling is false. This week I heard a great teacher, U.G. Krishnamurti. He said that the entirety of human thought is shit. And many of the people we see in the world have an extremely low level of psychological maturity. Maybe they're 5 or 6 years old inside. And this world is very dangerous. And moreover, just to make it even more difficult, it is possible that all these people are completely innocent and are just caught in some fallen world. Now, I'm going to attempt to present some subtle information. This Japanese lady is experiencing her life in the world. And there are several different streams through which you can experience the world. Firstly, from the solar plexus, she experiences the animal identity, which is real. It is the core. The second thing, because human beings are not fully formed in the third story, when she interacts with other people in society, she presents a mask to them. The events in your life that tend to form masks. But masks they are, and society as a whole is one series of masks speaking to another series of masks. And through that, there are some pure functions of the third story that are available to her. For instance, attention, concentration, active deliberation, active thinking, solving problems. These are like pure beams of light coming from the head. And for each of these, there is identity, and there is an outward experience and culture that is created by people who are experiencing that particular line. There is a culture that is made by people who are feeling that. For instance, the culture of the family comes from the solar plexus. And society as we see today, consumer society, modern society, comes from the masks. It is what masks do and create together. So these different lines represent different worlds, and people who experience them create a culture around that particular line. You could say science, up until recent times, was one culture that derived from pure functions in the third story, although American culture has destroyed it. There's quite a lot of information there. How should we take it? Well, the first thing is that everything has to be honored, even if you have something higher that is above traditional life, a family life. You must not disturb the soil. As I began, I was talking about doing some physical work. and offering it to my neighbours. That is a rather menial task. I'm able to do many much higher tasks than that. But the fact is, if you want to be a whole man, that means you have to be able to hit every note in the octave, and you must actually practice that. A true king is not somebody who sits at the top, but he is a man who can hit every single note in the octave, and he must continue to practice that until he gets to the next do. You must be a man for all seasons, and you must continue to work at every scale, at every level. And if not, that part of the line of the octave starts to weaken, and it brings it all down. If you go into society, it is a place of falseness and stupidity. Society is a place for Friday evenings, and you can talk whatever bullshit you want. But you should not misunderstand what it is. The real question, and this is extremely advanced, and I'm sure very few people will be able to follow me, but the masks represent the accretion layer of the third story. And most of them are unable to connect with any kind of reality. What they understand, what they see, how they process, what they think is false. It is the false self. Nevertheless, they are actually part of the line. And so in that sense, they are real, or they emerge from the real being, but they become false. They are like energy that is exploring prematurely into an unknown world. For thousands of years, people have said that the humanity is false, the world is false, and so on. But it is only false in a certain way. It is subtle and difficult to understand. I am trying to explain it. The masks are part of the being. They emerge from a real person, but they are the premature parts of the third story that are exploring. If you remember Gurdjieff's plus-minus diagram, new growths have to work in opposition. They have to oppose what was before. So for instance, if you want to climb over a wall, you have to put your foot on your friend's shoulder, opposing it. You oppose your friend's structure in order to propel you upwards. And what is interesting is from time to time, one of these masks develops knowledge. It becomes three-centered. It becomes something useful. That is a very important moment. The cosmic energetics of our life are deeply hidden, and people don't know about them. They don't know the meaning of the days of the week. They don't know. It surprises the hell out of me too.
All the wars that were won or lost somehow don't seem to matter very much anymore. All the lies we were told, all the lives of the people running round their castles of blood. Oh, I see change, but inside we're the same as we ever were. Living on a full life. Tell me now, what are we supposed to do? Living on a full life. Tell me now, what are we supposed to do? Living on a full life. Living this way, each day's a dream. Tell me now, what are we supposed to do? Living on a full life. Tell me now, what are we supposed to do? Now another century over and gone. What are we gonna leave for the young? Or what we couldn't do, or what we wouldn't do? It's a crime, but does it matter? Does it matter much? Does it matter much to you? Does it ever really matter? Yes, it really, really matters. Living on a full life.